Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we're going to be talking about Hedera and HBAR, so let's just dive into the price charts. So one, we got the sell-off of the unlock on HBAR. We're sitting at about 30 billion tokens, 60% of the supply is out there. I am also looking at, when is this sell-off going to stop? Because although, yes, the token unlock was a very bearish event, we also have a ton of bullish news. So I'm expecting this to, at some point in time, stop selling off. I mean, so far it's just been like a downtrend. I do believe that we are either going to hit a local bottom here and then have that higher continuation, or we're probably going to get, I would say that this is the most probable zone. We're probably going to get a test of the 618 or the 702. And this is going to be that higher low scenario where we don't go as low as most people are anticipating, and then we have a significant bounce from here where we do just kind of continue higher. One thing that I've also been mentioning was the Bitcoin pair. The Bitcoin pair looks very bearish. What I'm looking at is anywhere between the 702 and the 786, and we could even bounce off of our December low. This price action here with the FTX situation, I don't believe that we get that bearish, but again, anything can happen. This market has surprised me in the past, so we'll definitely wait and see what happens on HBAR. But with all of that in mind, I do believe that this market is going to have a significant bounce here soon. And the reason why is because, well, Jim Cramer and the mainstream media is getting bearish again on crypto. Actually, this year, Jim Cramer warns against crypto, warns it's a giant con, and he basically sold all of his crypto and all that kind of stuff, which we constantly hear all the time, just to create, the stupid narrative around crypto and how it's a, big scam, you should avoid it, blah, 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 all that nonsense. But also, around Hedera, well, guess what? We have constantly been seeing major updates. I mean, it's no difference. Like, we recently just seen Hedera announce 6 billion transactions. This comes days after we seen Blade Wallet announce that HBAR is basically being listed over in Japan for the first time ever. The Blade Labs team are proud to have been part of this strategic collaboration with Mercury to achieve the listing and are looking forward to providing wallet infrastructure development for their HBAR staking service product due to launch soon. This is a major step towards enterprise adoption in Japan. And again, like, when we look at Hedera and we look at what's been happening, it's been nonstop growth. Like, I always say, like, if you focus on one thing, which price action, like, everyone wants to focus on price action, which I get it. Listen, it's very easy to say, well, I don't really care about any of these updates because I just want to get rich. The way that you get rich and the way that these projects actually move in value is by them creating value. I know that as we look at these announcements around like 6 billion transactions, like you might be looking over here in the last 3 months. All right, well, we did 3.5 billion transactions in the last 3 months. Why isn't the price, at 50 cents? Why isn't it at $1? Why isn't it at $2, $3, whatever? Well, it's the fact that like these transactions, when we actually look at the 6 billion transactions, this might seem like a lot, especially when you compare it to other networks. It's great to see. Like, trust me, when I see these numbers, these are incredible numbers. For any retail investor, these numbers are also very bullish. But when you actually look into it, the fundamental value around this isn't that incredible. It's about $2.6 million per year in revenue, which, yeah, that might seem like a lot of money, but it's really not compared to most. So what this basically means is, you could look at this in a bullish way or a bearish way, whatever, however you want to look at it. To me, I actually think that this is bullish. Why? Well, although yes, we hit 6 billion transactions, and we hit 1 billion transactions in 17 days. Although this is very bullish, it's really not that bullish in terms of value creation, which means guess what? We need a lot more transactions. Do I believe that we will get them? 100%. Why? Because Hedera continues to expand in the enterprise grade sector. See, a lot of people overlook the idea that, like, all right, well, Hedera hit 6 billion transactions, the price didn't pump, so that means HBAR must be trash, right? Like, that's the narrative being pushed around Hedera so far. And also, a lot of people question the transactions. Like, we even do see down here, like, do you include consensus messaging in this total? No. And you'll see a lot of people talking down on it. Like, you'll see someone trying to create FUD around it because They're so in disbelief because this is like no other before. Like this is the only network that is actually doing these amounts of transactions. There's nothing else in the space doing this. In fact, I believe that Hedera is the only network in the space to actually have an enterprise grade customer transacting at this speed. And we even do see Hashgraph technology and our incredible ever growing community is showing Web3 the true potential of DLT driven by real world applications and utilities. See you at 7 billion, blink and you might miss it. Yeah, I mean, like it's been so fast in terms of the growth. It's been very exciting to watch the growth as well. But like I said, it's preparing me to have this idea around like, okay, well, this is just the beginning. And I kind of have to take a step back and sit down and say that to myself. Like, all right, well, this is just the beginning. 6 billion transactions, yeah, it's very exciting, but it's nowhere near the actual number. Like, imagine what people are going to be saying when we're at 60 billion transactions, or when we're at 600 billion transactions, or 6 trillion transactions, and that day is coming. The reason why I know is because Hedera, it's not just, oh, well, Hedera's here this year, next year they'll be gone. No, this is a 100-year company. The things that are being built on Hedera is completely different than what I've seen on anything else. And also, what they are focused on is some of the biggest problems in the real world area of enterprise, which gets me very, very bullish. And even when we look at the transactions, 1,100 plus TPS right now. This is something like no other. Tell me a network that is doing the transactional demand that Hedera is doing. I'll wait. And a lot of people think, well, why don't they just up the transaction fee? Because again, like the reason why we're not seeing a massive amount of money being generated from these transactions is because of how low it is in terms of the cost per transaction. And you'll see it here in a second. But the thing is that the cost per transaction here, the reasoning behind the transactional demand for Hedera is because of the cost, because the average energy use per transaction and things like that. Like this is why Hedera is being adopted the way it is, and this is also why it's being utilized the way that it is because of the statistics behind it. It's very exciting. And I've always said, like, look at the ecosystem around it. Look at the enterprise grade customers that are still waiting to go live. Like, things are being built. There's NDAs in place. These things do take a lot of time. And if you don't have patience, guess what? You just won't be around to see it truly realized in. There is a tweet going all the way back to 2022, January of 2022 to be specific. Shout out to Zepsi for this. But we do see why Hedera and HBAR are set to explode in 2022, changing the entire crypto landscape as they do. A thread outlining, and then we have here. Now, I want to just real quick take a step back. A lot of people think that by saying something is set to explode, a lot of people think that it's price wise. Oh, well, HBAR didn't do anything in 2022, so it didn't really explode. No, but what did explode was mainnet, right? We've seen so many live projects go live on Hedera. We've seen DeFi coming in clutch for Hedera. NFTs going crazy on Hedera. I mean, everything that we've seen in 2022 is accounting for what we see today around Hedera. There has been so much hype. There's been so much community growth, transactional growth. Like everything that we are seeing today is because of the building that happened in 2022. And we even do see here step function, right? This is what we have been focused on. And we do see, firstly, let's start with leaving beta. With the next mainnet upgrade, maintenance windows will change from hours to minutes. For bigger enterprise ready to roll out their use cases, this is essential. A precedent. And we do see here, firstly, let's start with leaving beta. With the next mainnet upgrade, maintenance windows will change from hours to minutes. And Zepsi basically mentions how this is good for bigger enterprise grade use cases that are ready to roll out to basically utilize this. It's essential for it as well. And this will be a contribution to the step functions in mainnet transactions. Here's those mainnet transactions. This is the step function. This is the transactions demand. This is the time and months. And it's basically getting extremely shorter. Like we are at the step function point in time where we are seeing the transactions taking a lot, a lot shorter time to hit. I mean, like, listen, we just did 1 billion transactions in 17 days. That is a new record for Hedera. That is a historical record as well. And, this is just the beginning. I mean, like, look at some of these enterprise grade use cases. I mean, this is why I've been focused on this because these are huge use cases. ServiceNow, service 80% of the Fortune 500. FPOS Australia, AUS, sorry, debit card system. And MekoMe. King Identity, service 60% of the Fortune 100. SB Group, biggest bank by assets. Africa, Shinhan Bank, leading bank. South Korea. I mean, like, and there's so many other ones. Like, there's so much happening on Hedera. Like, look at all of these use cases. I mean, it's only a matter of time until a lot of people figure out, like, okay, well, listen, this is not a get rich quick scheme. So we should focus on things like this. And I do agree on that. Like, listen, when we look at this market, this is never going to be a get rich quick scheme unless you're out there gambling with your funds in, these meme coins and these new coins that are launching on decentralized exchanges with zero value tied to it. Then yeah, sure, you can get rich quick on it. But the risk to reward ratio is extremely high. So if we actually look at some of these projects like Hedera, I mean, like, first off, a $2.5 billion growth fund in terms of grants, like, that's game changer compared to anything else out there. And, this is one of those projects that I've been focused on for so long because of the noise that they've been creating. You go over to the HBAR Foundation, you scroll through their tweets, and I mean, there's so much. They're constantly active. They're constantly hitting social media with, constant updates. Like, this is what we want to see. This is what you should see from any project around this space. You should constantly see updates. You should constantly see what they are doing, the insights of what's happening. And also, their team is being their team is constantly growing as well with the recent announcement with Brian Brooks joining them. I mean, it's not just projects, it's not just the mainnet, it's not just, what's happening. It's also who's joining, who's coming over to Hedera. And also, there's a lot more there to offer as well, like Starburst, right? Starburst just announced the Juicyverse on Hedera. Okay, this is not a small company. Like, everyone wants to, look at this and kind of make memes out of it and stuff like that. But ultimately speaking, this is what's gonna happen. This is the real value tied to crypto. You're gonna see corporations, companies, businesses, etc., all coming over here to, DLT and crypto to launch projects, to launch this, to launch that, to, do a specific thing. And this is where a lot of it starts with some of these smaller companies. And I'm not saying that this is, a smaller company, but this is a company tied to a much larger platform. I mean, like, the company that owns Starburst, right? We broke them down in the past. They're huge. In fact, when we actually go over to their website, you could see all of their brands. I mean, like, if you look here, for an example, if you click at their brands, right? Our brands section on their website. You go to pet care, you go to food. I mean, like, there's so many other ones here as well. Like, this is tied to everyday products that everyone pretty much knows about. And again, having one or maybe two of, their companies tied to Hedera, it only opens the door for more and more exposure. And I'm telling you, like, this is what we want to see. Like, this is what you should see from these projects that are actually focused on real world applications. And we even do see Skittles saying, like, will I be able to craft Skittles NFTs? Possibly. Like, it's going to be a lot more adoption than what most people anticipate. And I really do think that, again, when we look at some of these statistics, like, yeah, the amount of transactions is very exciting. Listen, these 6 billion transactions, for most people, like, for most people that are new to crypto, they're gonna look at this and say 6 billion transactions. Wow, I need to invest in this because, again, like, this is something that's never been heard before in crypto. I mean, like, Ethereum. I think Ethereum just hit what, 5 billion transactions. So this is a historical amount of transactions that is being transacted on a network that, again, is extremely overlooked. It's sitting at 6 cents right now. There's so much FUD around it. There's so much hate around it. Yet guess what? There's so much noise around it. There's so many companies tied to it. There's so much more left to be, established on Hedera. And this is just the beginning. So imagine what's going to happen in the next major bull cycle when, you have a whole bunch of retail flocking to the space and seeing, a mainnet that's doing 6 billion plus transactions. That's doing 1 billion transactions in less than 20 days. It's going to be a huge opportunity for them. And yes, guess what? The mainnet, it is exploding, and it is continuously going to explode. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe to the notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. So it's up to you all. Have a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are in this world. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.